Hey everybody. So today we're going to continue on with our anti-inflammatory motif. And now we're going to be talking about anti-inflammatory lifestyle. And
Mhm.
so often in functional medicine, we get a little crazy with all of the things you can take and crazy food things that you can do. But we can't forget that our daily lives matter when it comes to how our body decides whether it's going to be inflamed or anti-inflamed. And
Mhm.
so we've got many, many things we can talk about in this regard. And we talk to all of our patients about each one of
Mhm.
these things, but we're going to see what we can get done in 10 minutes, Aubree. We're going to broach
We
on as
got it.
many different,
We
right.
got
And
it.
we're going to focus on high impact things that anyone and everyone can do to make a difference.
Mhm.
Okay. So we came up with our list before, and my number one is toxic people.
Ugh, get him out.
Ah, exactly right. So I
Ah.
frequently tell people that toxic people are worse than any toxin on this planet. And
Mhm.
if you have a toxic person in your life, first of all, as soon as I say the word toxic people, you probably already have a little list of toxic people that come into your life. Unfortunately, you can't just kill them all. That doesn't work. And you can't just eradicate them from your life entirely because many times they're either family members or maybe they're
Mhm.
your boss or a coworker, and you're stuck
Right.
with this person.
Yeah.
So, first thing to do with toxic people is, of course, if you can get them out of your life or distance them without going to jail, then that's a win. So always try to distance yourself from these toxic people. But in reality, our therapist Donna is always telling people that you can only control what you can control. So the one thing you can control around these toxic people is you can control your boundaries.
Mhm.
And so boundaries is kind of a bad word in America. We're often everywhere. We want to help everyone and do everything, and that's not realistic. So with toxic people, the first step is to set boundaries, and those boundaries can look like multiple different things. So if a toxic person is abusing your help, you're helped, you're just helped out. You've done help this person so many times
Mhm.
you just can't help anymore. Learn to say no.
Right.
It's okay. It's okay to say no
Mhm.
because you can only help so many people. You can only help. You're not infinite, right? And the first step is you have to help yourself because just like in the airlines, right? You got to put on your own mask before you start putting on other
Mhm.
people's masks. So you have
One
to learn how to set boundaries.
A toxic person loves it when you don't have boundaries because
Absolutely.
they can do what they want to do. And a healthy relationship with someone, whether if it's a family member, a friend, or coworker, loves boundaries. I love when someone goes, or especially someone that I'm overseeing or whoever comes up and goes, I don't have time, like I want to do this, I don't have time for this, or hey, I'm feeling a little off today. Do you mind if I just have some space? I'm like, yes, you take your space. Like, we need those
Right.
boundaries. We need to tell people of, hey, I need to take care of myself. Because ultimately, the more we can take care of ourselves, the more we can help other people. And you don't want
Hmm.
to short circuit. But yeah.
And someone who doesn't appreciate you setting that boundary is definitely a toxic person for you. And that just tells you that you have to reinforce your
Hmm.
boundaries. One of the
Yeah.
metaphors I like to tell people is if you think of yourself as carrying a shield and where you place that shield is the appropriate way to have boundaries with people. So basically, you don't want to walk around this world with your shield all the way up and you can't see over it and you can't help people and your shield is just so far up that you're blocked off to the world. That's not healthy, right? But you also don't want your arms wide open saying, roll over me. I'm just going to
Stab
sacrifice my
me.
life to help everyone, right?
Yeah.
Because ultimately that's nice and great, but ultimately you're going to run out of steam and then be able to help no one. So you kind of want your shield here with most people. You want to be able to look over it. You want to be able to have healthy boundaries with these people. Siri keeps thinking I'm talking to her. So so you want your shield about halfway to where you can still see over it, but you've got this healthy boundary with people.
Hmm.
Now, with loved ones and things, that shield may be a little further down and
Yeah.
maybe more open, but you should never just be arms wide open to let anyone and everyone roll over you because then you won't be able to help anyone. So
Yeah.
making sure to set those boundaries, and that's really hard for some people, and they feel like they're going to hurt someone's feelings by setting that boundary. But someone who actually cares about you, like you just said,
Hmm.
wants you to set those boundaries and wants to know when they're crossing that boundary.
Yeah. And I think if you, a good way to spin it is to never put blame on someone. It's to never to say
Mhm.
what they're doing. You go, hi, I need space so I can have better mental clarity, so I can be happier and healthier. And so I can, be at peace with myself. When you take ownership of why you're setting a boundary, it immediately can diffuse a fight. instead of being like, you do
Mhm.
this to me, or you make me upset, you make me. Because in reality, no one makes you do anything. Your response is that, yeah, there's really terrible people, and you can feel overwhelmed and horrible by being in their presence. But when you say, I need this to recollect myself, or I need this for my own sanity, it's much better received.
Um, yeah, so we could probably talk a long time about toxic
Yeah.
people. I want to give a special shout out to my empaths out there. You and I are both empaths, and
Yeah.
most people that I talk to don't even, most empaths that I talk to don't even know what an empath is, and they don't even know that they're an empath. And so, if you've ever been that person that's been taken advantage of and have a hard time setting boundaries, you're probably an empath, and you need to
Mhm.
look up that term. You need to find out what that means, because you need to understand that people can steal your energy, not because you want
Mhm.
them to, but because as an empath, you're a sponge. You absorb negative energy in order
Mhm.
to help others. But just like a sponge, it eventually gets saturated and then can't absorb anything more. So you have to know your limits and what you can absorb, and when you need time to reset. There's a wonderful book out there, and I'll leave it at that. Is It's called The Empath Survival Guide by Judith
Mhm.
Orloff. Now she is, I always like warn everyone that she is an extreme empath. So when you read the book, you're like, gosh, I'm not that bad. Don't think that doesn't mean you're an empath. There's
Yeah.
a gradient to all empaths. So understand where you are. If you're a caring person and don't know how to set boundaries, that is a great place to start. I'm sure there are other books on wonderful boundaries, but for my empaths, that's a very great book to do. Okay,
Mhm.
enough on the toxic people, but that is the number one thing you can control in your life to be
Come out.
anti-inflammatory. How you how you interact with the world, let your body know whether to be inflamed or
Mhm.
anti-inflamed. So get
Right.
toxic people out of your life. Number two thing, and if you're in America, and really this is the whole world, any developing country, but um, especially in America, we are too busy. It's like we
Yeah.
pride ourselves in being so busy. Sleep is for the weak, and I'll sleep when I'm dead, and I'm just going to chug more
No,
coffee.
hustle culture is the most toxic culture. The fact that we should
Hustle culture. I haven't heard it called that. Hustle culture.
I guess
I like
that's how
that.
I view it,
Did
because
you just make that up?
yeah, I think, I don't know. But it's called something else, but all I thought was hustle. But hustling is good, but when all you good night. When
I'm
all
sorry, I
you
just kicked the table.
it's okay. When all you do is hustle and grind and be on it, that's where you're gonna get sick and tired and overworked. We're not meant to do that. We're not meant to constantly be on the go. And they've proven that a shorter work week and shorter work hours with more efficiency is healthier for your body. You get more done, you're more productive. So taking the time, and I just had a talk with someone yesterday. I said, I don't want you to work too much. I want you to take breaks. You need to take a break. You need to set that down, because we're like batteries. We need to be recharged, especially if you're an empath. You can lose everything of who you are by overworking yourself and draining that out of you. So,
Yeah,
a
it's
little worried
always
about that.
disappointing when you hear of all the research articles that talk about how many days of PTO that Americans don't even use. Like we have
Yeah.
vacation days that are not even used every year. Like what in the world? Or we choose to take it as a paid what do they call it when you can cash out your vacation and take that as paid time instead of never taking the time off. And no, you've got to take your vacation days,
Yeah.
even if it's to do I don't want to say do nothing and sit on the couch, but even if it's to stay in your own home or work in your yard or finally take down your Christmas decorations in February, whatever it may be, guilty. Use your paid time off, and you will be more productive. It's always shocking when they talk about decreasing people to like a 4-day work week, and they get more done in those 4 days than they do with 5 days and things. The research is out there of hustling too much can be a problem. And
Mhm.
it's ultimately what I kind of blame my pneumonia on last year and getting hospitalized
Mhm.
is I didn't slow down. I didn't let my body rest and recover. I didn't listen to any other doctors. And so don't be
Or
a victim of
staff.
hustle culture. Yeah, multiple problems.
Well,
So on that same note of being too busy is my next point on lifestyle, and that is just the practice of gratitude.
mhm.
Sounds terribly hokey and
No.
terribly cheesy, but I have to say it's been one of the things that's really just radically changed my life when I started just being grateful for all the little things. And your life may not be perfect right now, but wherever you are, there are always things to be thankful for. There are so many people that have it worse than us, and especially in America, we all have abundance in America.
Yeah.
Certainly more, some people have too much abundance. We've
Yes.
got the one percenters and stuff, but that's not our focus. The focus is on us and what we have, and we just need to be more and
Mhm.
more grateful. And
And it's
that is directly opposite to being too busy. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, and there's a balance of toxic positivity. So we're not ever saying ignore what you're going through. You need to have space for that and you need to feel it and process it. But at the same time, processing what's going wrong and processing and being grateful for what's going right, they go simultaneously for a healthier mind and body. And they've proven that you can retrain your brain and your neural pathways for gratitude. So if you force gratitude, yes, force it even for 90 days, you can actually
I'm
change.
so happy.
I know, like making yourself write down the good things, even if you're just like, even if you're the most depressed you've been in your life where you can't think of anything, there's little things that you can think of like, I'm thankful for the potato chip, because depressed people don't eat very well, let's be honest. But the little things, you just write them down every single day, and your brain does start to change. And what that does is that has an effect on your nervous system as well. So we talk about these things in an anti-inflammatory sense. You have to realize that everything that we're talking about, people, exercise, lifestyle, everything that we're going to get into has a physiological effect on the body. And so that's why we're talking about it, is because that can change your biochemistry. So you want to change it for the better, not for the worse.
Right. If you want to be happy, then the way to get there is to express gratitude on a small scale. And eventually that small gratitude will grow to a larger gratitude. And then that becomes your behavior pattern and what your brain is used to. And then that's
Mhm.
literally how you kind of generate happiness. Happiness is a choice, and it starts with appreciating every little thing in your life. Now, you don't have to appreciate all the bad things that happen, but there are plenty good things if you choose to focus on them. So it's all about what your focus is. You can focus on the bad stuff, and ultimately you will get worse and worse and more and more depressed.
Mhm.
And the studies are out there. This sounds hocus pocus, but it's so true.
Yeah.
So start with your list and practice it. The best time to start practicing is in your car on your way to work. If you're not quarantined and driving to work, that's a great time to turn off the radio and
Mhm.
just think about all the things you're grateful for, whether it be family, the sky, your car, the fact that you have a job, whatever it may be. There's so
Mhm.
many things to be thankful for. And
Yeah.
if you
And,
can't
and
figure out
if
what you're thankful for, it's time to sit down and really do some thinking.
Yeah, and if you do these habits and it's not changing, then there could be something biologically happening. There could be toxins, there could be gut health. You may need to see a therapist. And I think one of the most toxic things too is saying that therapy is for weak people. I think everyone should see a therapist because you get a different
Yeah,
perspective.
I agree.
And our brains are really smart and they know how to store trauma. They know how to store things in our subconscious. And so I think that stigma should be completely erased. I think it's powerful to go to therapy. I think the healthiest people do it and they utilize it. So all this to say is do
I've
what you
been.
can. I do. I go now. I love my therapist. She's wonderful. I mean, makes me a better employee, a better friend, better person. Um,
I work
and
with
it's
eight
there's
women, so I think I have eight
I know
therapists right now at all
you do,
times.
you do. So you do the best that you can. Utilize excess resources if you need to.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. So we're big fans of gratitude. Next on my list, or what's next on your list, Aubrey? I've been dominating my list.
Anti-inflammatory movement.
Okay,
So I know that sounds very strange, but you
that
want to
sounds
think.
yeah.
Yeah, it sounds strange. You don't
Move
Tai Chi
anti-inflammatory.
and things. You think of like anti-inflammatory. You want to put your body in a less stressed state. You want to do movement that's wonderful for you. If you are not up to doing CrossFit and doing these horrible cycling classes that are too much for your adrenals and you're too stressed out, that's not anti-inflammatory movement. Heart like just doing over exercising is not anti-inflammatory movement. Anti-inflammatory movement is anything that is gentle and supportive of your body. It's getting movement, it's getting energy flow, and it's telling your body I'm safe and I'm taking care of you. Yoga is a wonderful explanation of that. Going on a walk is an explanation of that. And this is going to be relative for everybody, but finding something that brings you joy. Don't exercise to the point of exhaustion. Don't do it because you're trying to change the way that you look. You should exercise because you're going to increase that dopamine hit. You're going to increase that happiness and you're going to help move your body. That's anti-inflammatory. And so just
Correct.
think about, yeah, anything that is fluid and calming to the body and supportive. We need it.
You hit on a big point, and that's what I was going to harp on too. Is that the reason for your exercise is really important. You're
Mm-hmm.
exercising for a positive reason to help
Right.
your body. If you're exercising to be not fat, that's not really a positive thing. You want to exercise because you want to treat your body and be healthy. So
Yeah.
make sure you're going for the right reason. And the biggest problem in America is that we've got this ingrained culture that if you want to be skinny, if you want to be healthy, you have to beat yourself up. You have to go to the pain cave. You have to torture yourself for an hour. And let me tell you, if you want to fall off the wagon, make exercise painful. That is the quickest way to fall off the
Yeah.
wagon. Instead, if you find stuff that you actually enjoy and be
Hmm.
grateful that you're able to do those things, then it's much more likely to become a habit. And if it becomes a habit, then you're much more likely to increase the intensity or increase the duration. And that ultimately will lead to more fitness. So if you hate rowing and that's the only thing you keep doing, it's not going to
Don't do
last.
it.
Right. But if you love
Stop it.
nature and bird watching, then go hiking, make that your exercise and combine it with your hobby of bird
Hmm.
watching or just enjoying nature and getting those two things. I do believe that in order to be quote unquote the healthiest you can be, you must incorporate exercise, but it does not need to be painful hill sprints
Hmm.
and terrible torture to your body. Does it need to be huffing and puffing? Do you need to get your heart rate up? Yes, but there's many, many different ways to do that. And it's important to explore your body and your brain and find out what you like in order to keep
Right.
doing that. And then to all my athletes out there that abuse their bodies and exercise, you have to know that that is an inflammatory exercise. And I'm guilty of it too. I'm doing Ironman training. Well, not right now, yeah, COVID, but
I was like,
during my intense Ironman training
no,
and
you're not.
triathlon training, speaking of which, there's a cough. During those times of intense training where I am pushing my body beyond what I know it should do, that means you have to give something else up, right? That means I have to eat even healthier than I normally do, or take more supplements than I normally
Hmm.
do. So if you are torturing your body, that just means that you've got to do much more on the other side. But in order to be healthy, you do not need to have a six pack and you do not need to exercise every hour, every day for an hour. The kind of goal is at least 60 minutes a week, and you should at least get your heart rate into the zone of where they say you can't sing a song, meaning that you're working out hard enough that you can't actually hold a note or sing a song, where you have
Hmm.
to take enough breaths. So 60 minutes. And so it doesn't have to be all at once. It can be 20 minutes 3 times a week. It can be 10 minutes 6 times a week, however you want to do it. But 60 minutes of not being able to sing a song. So there's plenty of things that you do on a daily basis that are free, meaning we've talked about supplements for anti-inflammation. We talked about food for
Yeah.
anti-inflammation, but there are many things that you do on a minute by minute daily basis that can change the way your biochemistry works as far as inflammation. And you need to take advantage of those because those are free supplements you got to pay for. But
Hmm.
choosing to set boundaries with toxic people, not being too busy, expressing gratitude, sleeping, moving correctly, are all
Laughing.
ways to laughing is the best
Laugh.
medicine.
Go laugh.
Yep. That really makes an impact. I like to do the Peloton training on my bicycle. And one of the things that the instructors frequently say, like near the end of a workout when you're just toast and you're tired, they say smile. And I feel the most
I
ridiculous ever where I'm in a
know.
room all by myself, I'm in a class on a bicycle, and I'm smiling ear to ear.
Yeah.
And I think this is so stupid, but
It works.
I always
It works.
so no matter where you are right now, I don't care if you're in a car wash and people are looking at you, smile right now and just feel that little warmth that comes over you, that tickle in your soul. Smile, laugh if you want to be a weirdo, and
That's
and you'll
cute.
be
That's
grateful for
cute.
it. It works. So anyway, we'll leave you with that
Yeah.
as far as anti-inflammatory lifestyle. Follow our channel, like us, subscribe, whatever. Check out our courses and store online if you want to support us. And we'll see you next time.
Cool. Bye, guys.
Bye.